Hello, Bridget Bartlett here. Today, I am going to show you how to create a workflow for a newsletter. I actually get this question a lot. When you are creating a newsletter, oftentimes you want to schedule them ahead of time, but you also want to make sure that the people who are opting in at a later date are actually getting added to the list. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. Okay. So if you are a member of our program, you can go to the knowledge base and get access to this training here. You can just simply look for the Create a Newsletter workflow. If you are not a member of our program, you can actually join for free and get access to all of our free training and tools by going to bridgetbartlett.com. Okay, so the basic steps that we're going to talk about today is we're going to create a form. We're going to create an opt-in page, which I recommend a bio link that's similar to Linktree, but a lot of people think that you need to use Linktree, and Linktree is just a basic website page with buttons. So really simple to create inside of HighLevel. Also, create an automation. With that automation, we need to have our form. When it is submitted, we want to add a tag. Okay, that is what is going to ensure that everyone getting added to the email list that will be receiving the newsletter actually receives it. Also, you can create a smart list. This is what I recommend that you do. It just keeps it dynamic to the list. Also, you can add more information to it and you can get really specific, more than just a tag there. And then also, we're going to actually create the newsletters and then schedule them. Okay, so to do that, of course, you need your HighLevel account. This is the foundation of our program. We do have plans for current HighLevel members, as well as if you want to sign up for HighLevel, you can actually get a 30-day trial if you go to bridgetbartlett.com as well. Okay, so we want to go into the Sites tab, and then we want to go to Forms. Okay, that's the very first step. We need to create a form. I'm just going to create a brand new form here. And typically it'll be the first name, and you definitely need the email. You could choose phone number if you want to, or any of these other fields. You could also add custom fields if you want. But basically, when you are doing email marketing, the first name is something standard that you want because you want to address them by name. And then, of course, we need the email because that's where we're sending the info. So this is the least constrictive, so it's going to convert better than if you were to add, phone number and additional fields here. But again, everyone has a different purpose for their newsletter. So the last thing that we need here is a button, okay, because they need to submit. So I'm just going to call this button join our newsletter. And you probably want to call your newsletter something more compelling than just newsletter. But for this training, we're going to say just join newsletter. And I do like for my buttons to be full width. So I'm going to go here, toggle that on to full width. And I could, do some editing here and really design this form to look better than it does. But for the sake of this training, I'm just going to go ahead and save. Okay, now the next thing that we need is to create a bio link, because we need something, a website, something that we need to put this form on. Okay, so we're going to go to websites. I'm going to go to new website, and I'm going to go to the template library, and you can see that we have lots of selections of bio links or Linktree. Some people know it better as. So let's go ahead. We're just going to choose one. So I'll just select this one here. And we can preview it so it looks good. I'm going to go ahead and just continue and get this template. Now, hopefully, I remember. Let me refresh my screen. I don't remember what that was called, actually. So maybe we need to. I can look here and see when the last time it was accessed. Oh, darn it. Now I don't remember what it was called. Let's go back here again. Let's go to... All right, so, okay, so it was called Linktree. So let's search Linktree. Okay, so now we're going to choose this one. This is my template that I used. Now I'm going to open it up in the editor. And now what we need to do is add our form, okay? Now, we can add our form to a button here and then have it open up. We could also embed the form, okay? So if you decide you want to embed the form, all you need to do is click to add an element, and you can drag the form here and then select your form. We call our form newsletter. So I'm just going to add that there. Oops, newsletter. So I'm just, sorry about that. I keep clicking away. So we went to add newsletter, and then now we have our form. Okay. If you want to add a button, which I like the idea of adding it to a pop-up, because then you can also make the pop-up show up when they are exiting the page. So I'm going to click here and go to pop-up. I'm going to add a row. We're just going to make this really simple. We're going to add a form, and then I'm going to choose my newsletter form here. And then now we have the form, and we could put whatever text that we want to here, like, check out our amazing newsletter. You're going to get so much value. It's going to blow your mind, right? So let's say that we're happy with that. And this is what I was saying to you before about how I like to show the pop-up on the exit. So if they decide to skip away from our bio link, once they land on it, then we have a second chance to capture their contact information and say, hey, are you sure you don't want to give us your contact info? Okay, so to set this button, let's say that this button is, instead of visit our website, we want it to say, actually, let's go down here. Instead of visit our website, we want it to say, sign up for our newsletter. Okay, and then of course we can save. Now we need to set the button to the pop-up. You can see it's already set there. There's only one pop-up available on each page, so we're good to go there. I'm going to go ahead and save. So now we have our bio link equipped. Okay, so of course you want to connect a domain to it and all of that stuff. Okay, I have lots of training on that. So once it's connected to a domain, the next thing that we need to do is create the automation. Okay, so I'm going to go now to the automations tab. This is what I love about HighLevel. You don't have to, go and purchase a bunch of different tools. Everything is built inside of the platform. So now we're going to call this newsletter. And the trigger for this workflow is going to be when our newsletter form is submitted. Now, what's really cool is we could add this form to our bio link, to our maybe like 14 different websites or 45 different funnels, anywhere, even on a different website that has nothing to do with HighLevel. Maybe you have a WordPress site or Wix or wherever you have your website hosted. You can add this form, and no matter where it's added, it can trigger this automation. Okay, so that's really, really cool. So I'm going to choose the form. Okay, so maybe we need to refresh here because it didn't recognize our form that we created. So let's do this again. So we're going to say newsletter, and then we are going to choose the form submitted, and form is newsletter. Oops. So whatever I decide to add here, okay, I just click this button, and I could trigger Google Sheets, send a message to Slack, a webhook. I could send an email, a text message. I could make a manual phone call, a ringless voicemail. I could do any of these things here. I could even make them an affiliate. But what I need to do for sure is create a tag. Whoever fills this out is going to have the tag that is newsletter, and they will, from this tag, they will receive the appropriate letter. Okay, so we're tagging them newsletter as soon as they opt in the form. Okay, so that's really all that we need to do there. However, I did tell you that another step that you may want to consider is to create a smart list. And you can do that by going to contacts, and you want to basically you can search. So what we want is all of the people who have, maybe we want the first name is not empty. Okay, we could choose that. Maybe we want to add everyone who has an email. So we don't want, all of the people who call. Thing that we need is the tag. Okay, so when they have the tag. So I'm going to apply. So now this smart list that I'm creating is dynamic. Okay, so that means that anyone at any time that comes into your system that has the first name field not empty, the email field is not empty, and they have the tag that is newsletter, then that is going to it's going to dynamically automate, right, or update. So let's call this the newsletter. Okay, and save. Now you'll understand here in just a minute why I wanted to create that smart list. Okay, so now when we go into marketing and we go into campaigns, and remember yesterday we created a template, but let's actually just create a template real quick here. So I'm going to go here and let's just say we're going to choose from the existing templates. Let's select this one. Let's say this is our newsletter template. Once you have your template created, then you want to create your campaign. Okay, so I'm going to go, let's go to our templates here. I think let's call this template newsletter. That way we are on the same page here. So when this loads, I do want to say hello to Ray, who is joining from Corpus Christi. So let's call this newsletter, newsletter. Okay, and save. So of course you can edit this, you can make it all awesome, but the goal is you want to create a template. That way, when you are sending out your newsletters every month or every week or however ever often you send them out, they are consistent with one another and it's branded to you, and it just makes your time adding the content really simple. Okay, so we want to go to campaigns and we're going to create our first campaign. Okay, so I'm going to use the template that I've created here, which is newsletter. I'm going to go ahead and click here. Now here is where I want to add all of my content, okay? For, let's say, this is going to be newsletter January, okay? So I'm just going to say January, and I'm going to go ahead and save. Now, when I go to send and schedule, this is where the magic happens, okay? So let's say that I want to send this out June 1st, and I want to send it out at 10 a.m. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I want to put my from email. I can type this in, or I can choose from user, contact, campaign, account, whatever. Let's just say I want to choose the account email. So I'm going to choose that. I can also choose the from name. Let's even, of course you could type it in. You could also do the account name there. And then here's the subject line. So I'm just going to say something really generic, like here is the newsletter for January. Okay. And then we talked yesterday about the preview text. So this is such an amazing tip that, tip that you have to check out. Dot, dot, dot. And then here, the recipient. This is where we needed the smart list or the tags. Okay. Now, if you choose the tag, it's going to choose all of the people who have that tag. Okay. Now, if it's just a tag, it's really not that big of a deal. You can just say newsletter, and of course you gotta spell it right. So you could just say newsletter, and then here you can say, do you want to send to all of the people that have it right now while this is being scheduled, or do you want it to update? Okay, so you can say yes. It says should contacts linked with this tag between now and the send date and time be included in this campaign. So if I did not want the people, I'm scheduling this for June 1st, but if someone opted in and got tagged with newsletter on May 29th, then if I chose this option, then they would not receive it. But if I say yes, include them, then as long as they were tagged with that tag by the time this goes out, it's going to send to them. Okay. So if I wanted that, then I could just go ahead and save and send, right? And schedule. If you have a smart list, this is the same process. Okay. So we're just going to choose newsletter as our smart list, but you may have different criteria in there. So you can choose one or the other depending on your purpose and what you really, who you want to send to. I do like the smart list over the the contacts just because you have more options. You can always choose the tag in your smart list, but it's great to have the smart list so that you have more criteria than just the tag. But this is the same process here. You can choose to add them, all of the ones who were added to that smart list before this gets sent out, or no, you don't want them to be added. So I would say yes, include them. And then, of course, you would want to schedule here. Okay. So this would be the newsletter. Once you schedule this is how you would set this up for January. Okay. Now, of course, you can always go back now because once this was, let's save. Okay. So once this was done for January, what I'd want to do for February is I want to go create another campaign. Okay. I'm going to choose the newsletter template here. And then I'm just going to call this one February. And I'm going to save. I'm going to add all of my content here that I want to send out in February. I'm going to schedule, and I'm going to choose, well, I said February, and I did the other one for June. Let's just say here, I'm going to do July. Let's change this to July. And we want to send this out July 1st at 10 a.m. So we would want to choose our from name again. So let's just choose the account name here. And then, oops, account email, not the name. So we go to account and email. And then we can choose the account name. And then here we want our subject line. So let's just say July newsletter. Of course, you want yours to be better than that. And then we have some text here, which I'm not going to put because I already explained that. And then now, again, we want to choose our smart list or our contact tag. Okay, so I'm just going to choose newsletter. I'm going to say yes, include all of them, and then I'm going to save. Okay, so of course you would want to schedule, but I don't have things connected to this demo account here. But this would be what you would do for July. Now, for June, July, August, you want to do the same process. Okay. So these newsletters are not going out until this date, right? But right here is where we're choosing who's going to receive them. Okay. Now, if Billy Bob hops on your list in the middle of June, Billy Bob's not going to receive the June newsletter because that already went out on the 1st. But he's on the list and he has the newsletter tag, so he will receive the next one that goes out, which is on July 1st. Okay, so hopefully that clears up to you guys how this process works. It's actually really, really simple. But of course, there's, you have to understand the tools and all of that. There's no send a newsletter right here. But this is the process, and that's how you can ensure that you are sending the correct newsletters out for yourself or for clients to the correct people. Okay, so thank you all so much for joining me. Remember, you can go to bridgetbartlett.com. You can sign up for HighLevel. You can sign up for our reseller program or for our free training and tools. And I will see you all tomorrow, same time, same place. Go make your vision a reality. Bye. Thank you so much for joining us for today's training. If you have any questions, you can join us for open office hours starting right now at bridgetbartlett.com. It's free and open to everyone, so I'll see you there.